let's start. Before we begin, I want to make alignment with the expectation. This is not a technical talk. Okay, so if you came here to see how actually to implement a real life code section or something like this, 40 minutes, to create the micro-frontend applications, this is not the talk. Okay, so you're free to go. No? Okay. It's more about how to make the right choice, okay, to understand if this technology is something that we want for our project, to understand all the bad parts of it, okay, what does that mean to jump into the micro-frontends, because sometimes, the buzzword, what's called buzzword development, right? When we hear the new technology, let's develop it. Buzzwords driven development here, yeah, so that's not what we want to do. So my name Daniel Ostrovsky, and I'm software senior principal engineer, long title, okay, just got it 2 months ago, so I not get used to it yet, at Dell. And we were going to talk about the micro-frontends, model federation, and other things. By the way, my website, you can look at it, nothing interesting, but my Twitter and Medium, follow me please on the Twitter and on the Medium, okay? I so close to 10,000 followers. I need only another 9,600 more, and I'll be there. So just let's do it right now. Okay, about me, 20 years, more than 20 years in development, a full cycle public speaker and writer in multiple languages, Hebrew, English, Ukrainian, Russian, open source contributor, volunteer, and meetup organizer. This is my hobbies: diving, rock climbing, at least 20 kilos before. It was much easier to climb, and yacht sailing. This is not me, it's just picture from some commercial of the yacht that, it's kind of my dream. I'm putting my dream on the wall to see that that's yacht that I want to buy one day. Okay, now before we go and jump into the new technology, does anyone have seen my talk about the quick framework online? Okay, only one, that's good. Sorry, so it's gonna be kind of left between. So the history, okay, I like to talk about the history before we going forward to the new technologies. Okay, let's look where we come from before we actually go into the new steps and the evolution of technologies. 60 million years ago, dinosaurs died, okay, and sometime after it, the internet appears and JavaScript was introduced. Basically in 1995, JavaScript was started, the early adoption in Netscape. Anyone familiar with the Netscape? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Okay, yeah, we are old. Yes, that's old. We know what is Netscape. So the JavaScript was used mainly for form validation and minor interactivity with the user. Okay, it's nothing about the data. Bless you. Meaning I say truth, so. The way the application was delivered to the client, everything was rendered on, generated on servers and sent as a static content, as a static files to the browsers. That's basically it. Was very perform, okay, in that days, but no interactivity. Each page requires full reloading, each navigation, each change content on the page requires the full redirecting and rewriting the entire page. 2005, Ajax coming into the picture. Okay, basically Ajax was introduced by Microsoft much earlier, somewhere in 1995, 1996, but the adoption of the Ajax began in 2005. The Ajax brings us actually the ability to load the content without reloading the web page. Okay, but as most things that Microsoft develops, to use the Ajax was pretty difficult. Okay, just to write the entire function of creating the Ajax call, it was like, I don't know, 200, 300 rows with the code that nobody can understand it, okay? So jQuery coming into the picture. And jQuery gives us, basically, it's opened the doors to entire world of the client development, okay? Front-end development. DOM manipulations, easy Ajax calls. It's we had in 2005, 2006, we had many different browsers, okay? We had Safari, we had Netscape, we had Internet Explorer 6, if someone remember what is this, okay? In the title, okay, when you in your CV, you should, if you web developer, okay, sorry, webmaster in that days, okay, you should have multi-browser compatibility, whatever, okay? So to say that I know how to develop for multi-browsers. Now nobody cares, okay? It's like out of the box with development. It's always for all browsers should looks the same, less or more. But yeah, in that days, I know how to adopt any page for any browser and all this tricks. So, and jQuery really helped with this from the JavaScript perspective. The delivery of the application, everything was pretty awful. The development experience was not nice and not easy at all. It's not scalable. It was still the HTML page was generated on the backend on the server, served to the client as a static, and had all these links to the JavaScript, huge JavaScript files that actually was manipulating the DOM elements and loading the content, partial content changed on the pages, etc. To have JavaScript file with 2,000 of lines or 10,000 of lines, that was like absolutely okay. SAS, basically SAS come much earlier, but SAS, like in our real life, 200 years ago, what's called the huge industrialization of the world, make a lot of changes for entire world. SAS made the huge impact on the way web was developed, okay? SAS platforms made this change, and basically SAS, and everyone, the SAS platforms basically pushed all users from using the downloadable applications into the web applications, right? If you remember, in the beginning of 2000, we had Thunderbird, right? It's a email, kind of Outlook email client. Now we have Gmail, okay? Gmail, it's a SaaS platform. So, and many other things, Google Docs, okay? I don't know when the last time I was opened the Microsoft Office or anything like this, okay? Just because maybe I have it, in the big enterprise, but usually nobody use it, okay? If you need docs, you have Google Docs and everything. So they made a huge impact on the way how the application was developed. And one of the impacts is actually to create the JavaScript frameworks, okay? In 2010, again, all the years they are plus minus 2 years, okay, on the left and the right side. So Backbone come in with the concept of MVC, Model View Controller, okay? Something that says, okay, JavaScript that runs on the client side should not be big mess files or anything like this. Let's make the order in it, okay? Let's clean this. Let's make separation of content, separation of responsibility inside of the JavaScript files. So, and we got the model view controller. Then AngularJS coming into the picture and changed the MVC into MVW, meaning MV whatever, model view whatever. And this is the beginning of a single page application era, okay? We all starting to work with a single with the SPA, React coming a little bit later by Facebook, Vue.js, different architectures, module-based architecture, component-based architecture, and other things. The only one thing that we left behind is actually search engine optimization, right? Google always was saying, if you want to be on my first pages, my first results, you have to be server-side rendered. And that's why actually SaaS platforms made this huge impact, because a lot of people, a lot of development, I mean, in terms of, you know, the number of lines of code that was developed was not, it wasn't targeted to be on indexed by Google. Okay, all the SaaS platforms, all the, you know, I believe you don't want that your Gmail be indexed by Google, right? And appear on the search results. So similar to Google Docs, similar to Salesforce, okay, similar to other CRM networks and SaaS platforms, there's many. They are not built to be indexed by Google, and most of the development was done for the SaaS platforms, and nobody cares about search engine optimization. That's why, by the way, WordPress is still most popular system, or most popular, you know, the website in the world, okay, less or more. The delivery of these applications become much better. We have builders, Minify, Browserify, CommonJS, you know, all the ability to break the JavaScript into the modules and then build all together back and deliver into the clients. The development experience was improved, and yeah. 2016, this is the first time when micro-frontend concept was introduced. The same year when Angular 2 was introduced, okay? Coincidence? I don't think so. Okay. So, yeah, that's what 2016, and now we lesson on our future, our days. Micro-frontends, of course, all the platforms, all the JavaScript frameworks can be used as for development for the micro-frontend applications. TypeScript, JavaScript is the basic, and now we have the delivery is much better. Yeah, we have the Webpack, lazy loading, parcel, and whatever. And by the way, we close the circle. We're back to server-side rendering. Okay, we started from the server-side rendering, and now we did the entire circle. We're back on the server-side rendering. I hope we're not going to make the circle till the dinosaurs. Okay, start and end micro-frontends. When we're talking about the micro-frontends, usually when we're trying to sell it to our boss or to ourselves, okay, there's 5 topics that we're talking about. Modular, modular, technology agnostic, independent CI/CD, scalable, user experience, development experience, right? This is less or more the things that we're talking about. Of course, there is some additional use cases, custom use cases for each one of the project, but this is like the more common things that we're talking about when we're trying to sell it for someone. Modular, one product, multiple teams, meaning that the one product can be split into multiple micro-frontends. Each micro-frontend can be developed by separate teams. This team can be, you know, can work, on individual micro applications. Each team can be in different time zones in different countries. They even might not talk to each other. Okay, that's it. And this product up and running. Each one of the sections of the product is just, you know, have its own CI/CD, etc. Okay. The problem is we have the code duplication and text complexity, meaning that when it's absolutely the microphones are absolutely independent and decoupled from each other, and there is, you know, the teams are not talking to each other, there is there's going to be for sure that some of things will be duplicated, the duplicate development. Okay, like the same footer will be duplicated, will be developed 10 times. How many the, you know, sections and microphones there is, that's how many times this will be developed. Components that can be reused, logic that can be reused, services that can be reused. Everything will be developed multiple times, and then try to test all this together. Okay, because in the end of the day, you release you have the release, you want to test and see that everything run and works together. When everyone is dependent, you need someone who will actually sit above all these teams and know how to build all together and test it. Okay, besides that, each one will test their own part of micro-frontend, but you need to know how to build all this together and how to test across all the micro-frontends. Technology agnostic. This is one of the most dangerous parts, and for my opinion, one of the dangerous advantages in micro-frontends, okay? Especially in long run, in long time running products. When there's product that have 10 years old, you need to change the technology. Okay, you might say, okay, I'm not gonna use AngularJS anymore. I want to switch to React, Vue, Angular, or whatever, but I have to change it. And micro-frontends can be very useful for this. Okay, you can take the parts from your monolith old technology and switch it to different technologies. And also the multiple frameworks can work at the same time. This is another problem. Okay, when you can say connect the modular, okay, the multiple teams, and technology agnostic, you can say, okay, I have one section in Singapore, guys will develop on React. Another one section in US will be developed by other guys on Angular, and another section that will be developed by, I don't know, on Vue.js or whatever. Then you have multiple technologies on the same product. First of all, you're not able to switch product in between teams. Okay, make it like really fast switch, because then you need learning curve for each one of the teams, the new technology. You need to support all technologies, the dependencies, okay, for each one of these technologies. The upgrading strategy, update strategy is becoming very complicated. So having multiple technologies in the same product is the worst practice that you can find. Now, if you're in the middle of transition between one technology to another one, you need to find, you need to decide to define the point in your time when you will stop doing it. Okay, it's like I talked today in the morning with the guys sitting there, yeah, when you're doing the reconstruction at your home, okay, there is no way you can finish it. You can stop it. Okay, the same way with the changing the technology in the product that's already exists. There is no way you will finish it one day, but you need to understand when you stop. You need to get the goals, milestones. Everyone have to be signed on it. All stakeholders, based on my experience, okay, all stakeholders have to be signed on it, on these milestones, on these goals where you need to get. And as soon as you got there, you stop. Otherwise, you will lose your hands in multiple technologies, in things that partially works, etc. It's not something where you want to be. Independent CI/CD, faster delivery. Of course, with the micro-frontends, each one of the parts can be delivered separately. Probably some of the parts of your application should have, 2 weeks, 3 weeks periods between releases. Some of other parts can be delivered on the daily basis. Depends on the complexity of these applications. Yeah, so it can be independently developed and tested and deployed. Scalable, partial scaling, the same. Sometimes some of the parts of our section, some of the section of our application can be widely used, okay, by users. Some of it not. So, for example, the section with the configuration of our account, for example, profile. No, but how often you making changes in your profile? Let's take a Netflix, okay? Everyone have Netflix? Yeah, okay, everyone have Netflix. So how often you come into your profile configuration, the Netflix? Once in a year? And how often you watch movies? Home page, okay, each time loads. So the scaling can be much different between these parts of the application, okay? Yeah, and it leads us to robust infrastructure. Okay, this is actually one of the important parts in micro-frontends. It's to orchestrate all this. Okay, just if you're familiar with the DevOps, how many of you are familiar with the DevOps, work DevOps? Oh, whoa, guys, it's a client applications. What are you doing here? Okay, so yeah, this is for you. Okay, if your projects will move to the micro-frontends, you're gonna deal with all the load balancers, gateways, domains, okay? And also it depends on the way, we'll talk about it a bit later, depends of how the entire application will be built, either on during the runtime, or during the server-side rendering, or during the build rendering, or whatever it is, okay? This is gonna be your headache. Okay, someone will make a decision, and you should be there to say your yes or to say your no, and you need to understand the difference between this. Okay, so I'm not gonna dive deep into the ways how the application build, the entire application build, on the runtime, what the options, but my suggestions, if you're not there yet, if you're not working on the microphones, but you're only thinking about it, deep dive in it, okay, in the different options, and come prepared with whatever you want, because you, the DevOps guys, you will have huge headache to maintain it. Okay, it just sounds like it's easy. It's not. And performance KPIs, of course, again, some of the parts of the product must require better performance. For example, I don't know, let's say we have some graphs that should be updated every second or something like this, prices on the market or whatever, might have different KPI, okay, for each one of the actions, and other ones can be, not so important and not so performant. It depends what product requests from us, okay, based on requirements. So yeah, reducing load time, better performance on the application, many other things. And again, we have it's basically everything coming all together in the overhead of managing the communication and the states between the applications. So it's something that need to be considered. How many ties do we have? What time is it? Okay. Let's code something. I promise you there is not going to be coding, but I lied to you. I'm not going to code too much, okay? Here you can see empty project built by Narwhal. Anyone familiar with the Narwhal? NX? You can. Okay. So it's empty, okay? You see the packages is empty. Something in server, nothing important. Tools empty, everything is empty. And all I want to do is just create the micro-frontend. Okay, I'm gonna create now the micro-frontend application. Well, I'm using the mono repo management tool that's called Narwhal in X. And I will ask from NX, please generate based on Angular technology. I can use React technology, Vue.js technology. Okay, please generate host. Host is meaning the application, basically the layer that connects all other micro applications beyond. Okay, I will give it the name devdays. Okay, and remotes, meaning the micro-frontends, remote applications that should run independently, we'll say whole 1, whole 2. Whole 2 is enough. Okay, enter. Okay, SAS. Asking what styling do I want to use? I want to use SAS. Whole 2 is not found in the schema. What? Ah, sorry. Remotes. Okay, whole 2. SAS. Okay, and now we have it here. Packages, devdays, whole 1, whole 2, and also the UI end-to-end test, Cypress-based tests for each one of the applications. NX serve devdays. Okay. The first one, welcome whole 1. This is a kind of default NX application that they put in when you make the code generator. This they have in this example. Okay, the second one also was generated, and we have all together. Let's close this one. This is the home. This is actually the host one. Okay. You can see here devdays, the name of the application. This is the whole 2. This is the whole 1, whole 2. Micro-frontend applications, all the same with the navigation in between. We can see it. Right, hold on, let's go home. Let's reload it. Okay. We can see it all here. Okay, when I'm going to the whole 2, I have my applications running on port 4200, and I'm retrieving the application from 4201. This is actually the, this is the less or more one of the options how the micro-frontend works. Okay, and of course I can run the micro-frontend by itself. Okay, 41. This is just, I'm just running the micro-frontend as is, without any without running the entire, all the 10 micro-frontends or whatever how many I have. If I want to add, it's cool, right? Yeah, it's cool. Okay, now let's back to our presentation. Okay, we're back. So if you like the micro-frontend, if you like the NX, do you want to know more about it? Much more about NX? In 250, you have Santosh Yadav, who's gonna give a huge talk, a nice talk about this. I suggest you to come and see. I'll be there definitely. It's interesting. Okay, the way we split in the application. Okay, there is 3 patterns how we split our project into the micro-frontends. Domain-driven design, multiple SPA, and the micro-frontend is a component. Each one have its own advanced and disadvantage. Okay, domain-driven design meaning it's based on the sections. Okay, on the business domains. For example, let's go back to the Netflix configuration. My profile, this is the one micro-frontend. Homepage, this is the another one. Search movies, this is the third one. Okay, so this is like different use cases, different domains, different businesses. This is the way how we can split at our project. Multiple SPAs may say it's very close to the domain driven because that's how we're going to split it. Okay, but basically it's absolutely standalone single page applications that you just trying to combine with the iframes in another way. Okay, I don't sorry, a little bit difficult to give an example. Let's say okay, yeah, so each micro-frontend is a separate application that you want to actually combine somehow all together. Let's say, I don't know, you want to put Google Docs and Google Sheets and Google Slides, but to have one header above it. Less or more, this is what you're going to do. Okay, different micro-frontends and put all together. Now, micro-frontend as a components, it's when the entire application, the SPA, the single page application, you can close it as a web component. Okay, you can build web component out of it and say, now I can import it as just web component anywhere. Okay, in any other application. This is one of the options. The difference, okay, in domain-driven is, you can read it, each team work on a separate area of the business, each team have its own expertise on this area, etc. Multiple SPA, each team works on the separate SPA, meaning this fully decoupled, they can be, again, different time zones, different countries, very easy, absolutely independent. MFE, that can be more complicated because basically means that you can reuse the same component in multiple parts and multiple sites and multiple you can create web component, let's say some table that be reused across your product in other micro-frontend applications, etc. Let's make it a little bit more complicated with the state management and the code and other things. So it's need to be very, very careful with how you develop it, how you test it. The integration in domain-driven can be complex because different domains have different data structure and different data requirements. It's not like, to get to the complex side, it's have to be very, very complicated application. Usually it works fine. Multiple SPA, the integration is much simpler because they are standalone. Okay, unless you really want to share some data in between, but then you need to think maybe if there is a lot of data that should be shared between different SPAs, think maybe the multiple SPAs is not the solution. Okay, this is one of the keys. If you have the data that have to be shared in between them, it can be done. Okay, but again, probably it's not the solution. Look about the other solution. And micro-frontends as components, its integrations depends on how components are designed and interact. Of course, as everything depends on the way you build it. Okay, you can build it. This will be as a library, like a common library for all other micro-frontends with the different web components that you can build, and everyone will reuse it. But it also can be complicated if you need some specific adjustment for each one of the use cases. Okay, and then you need to have like a lot of if else. If this component run under this application, show this one. If another one, so it can be a little bit complicated. But by the way, in this case, if you're familiar with any feature toggling tools, this can be very useful in this case. Micro-frontends versus module federation. Okay, this is basically a little bit complicated topic. I don't know if we have enough time to go over. Yeah, we have. Let's do it really fast. I'm not going to read everything. I just try to explain on the high level in the difference between them. Micro-frontend says each MFE, each micro-frontend have its own responsibility. Okay, might have dedicated team, might have separate CI/CD flows and anything like this. Module federation, I would look at it like again the library of components or modules out there already deployed for you. Okay, somewhere that you have the URL and you can access it, and you can use it in your micro-frontend applications. Okay, so it's not one versus another one. The title is wrong. Okay, it's like, what is the difference between them? It's two different options. It's two different approaches. Okay, and use cases. Micro-frontend is a micro-frontend that they can use the module federation in it. Okay, basically what you can do is, you saw in the example here, sorry for that. Okay, when it loads all these lazy loaded modules, okay, that should be loaded, you know, only when you on the specific road, only when you need to show the specific component, they can be loaded from the same URL, from the same domain where your application running, or from another one. Doesn't matter. Okay, so you can build sorry, so you can build the library of components, modules that actually sitting somewhere on CDN, and then your micro-frontends, when they running on the runtime, they can just load the components from there. And if you need to change some, let's say you have a bug in the data table and this have to be changed, all you need to do is just redeploy this component on somewhere on this remote library. Okay, you don't need to redeploy the entire applications and the entire micro-frontends, everyone that use this table. Okay, this is basically on high level the difference in between. That's it. Yeah, thank you again.